In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the specially merciful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello, dear student of secondary school, first grade 1. We are speaking today about physical measurements. Measurements translate our daily observation into quantitative amount that can be expressed in terms of numerals. We can express the length of wool by 2 meters, 4 meters, 5 meters, and so on. The length of wools turns to numbers. This happened for all physical quantities. What I mean by physical quantities? I mean length, time, mass, volume, speed, acceleration, force, and work. Now we are speaking about key elements of measurement process. Key elements of measurement process are physical quantities. This is the first. The second, measuring tools as ruler, Roman scale, clock, metric tape, beam balance, digital watch, and Werner caliber قدم ذات الورانية Werner caliber. Hence, the key elements of measurement process are in the first, physical quantities. The second, measuring tools. The third, measuring units such as meter for distance and displacement, meter per second for velocity, meter per second square for acceleration. We are speaking now about the type of physical quantities. In the first, we are speaking about physical quantities. Physical quantities can be classified into fundamental physical quantities and derived physical quantities. The fundamental physical quantities, we can define it as they are physical quantities that cannot be defined in terms of other physical quantities. So, the fundamental physical quantities hasn't relation with another physical quantities. It can define by itself as such as, for example, length, time, and mass. But derived physical quantities, we can define it as they are physical quantities that can be defined in terms of the fundamental physical quantities. For example, volume, speed or velocity, and acceleration. We are return another again. We are return again to the fundamental physical quantities and defined it. The fundamental physical quantities, they are physical quantities that can't be defined in terms of other physical quantities as length. If we want to measure the length of the boy, the length of the boy is considered a fundamental quantity because no another physical quantity is needed to define length. So length is defined by itself. For that, we called the length is a fundamental physical quantities. We called length is a fundamental physical quantities. Why? Why? Because it defined by itself. Defined by itself. But the derived physical quantities, which we defined it as they are physical quantities that can be defined in terms of the fundamental physical quantities. And we say, for example, for derived physical quantities, volume and speed or velocity and acceleration. If we take volume for example, volume of a cubed equals length times width times height. V equal L1 times L2 times L3. The volume of the cubed is considered a derived quantity because the volume is defined in terms of lengths of cuboid dimensions, because the volume defined in terms of the lengths of cuboid dimensions. So volume is derived from length, from length. For that, the volume is derived physical quantities. Integration of physics and mathematics. The relation among physical quantities can be expressed by mathematical equations. For example, When a moving body covers a distance d in a time t, its velocity v can be expressed as velocity equals displacement divided by time, or v equals d divided by t. The relation is called a physical mathematical equation. A physical mathematical equation, which is a shorthand formula to give a physical illustration of particular indication, which is a short formula to give a physical illustration of a particular indication So we will inshallah